Good morning, everybody. I am Todd Obert, President and CEO of Productive Corporation, joined here alongside me virtually and technically coming to you from a very dense cloud that he's hanging out in. I think a fair amount of moisture is allowing him to defy gravity, is Mr. Pete Greco, our VP of Sales and Technology. And today we are going to talk about elevating your endpoint with Kaspersky Cloud. Pretty cool stuff. Just came out, and we'll get into the interface. We'll show you a few slides about what it has in it, but really we know you want to see the technology, and that is what we are all about. So first of all, we will meet Productive in 1 minute, then we'll talk a little bit about why cloud security and quickly get you into the Kaspersky Endpoint Cloud overview. If you've been to our events in the past, you know how we do it. We spend less time talking about fluff and more time delivering the content that you desire to see. So to that end, let's meet Productive in 1 minute or less. Well, who is Productive, Pete? Which is a strange question for you to ask since you're here. But Productive Corporation provides security solutions for mid-size companies. We have great expertise that is specialized security that helps you answer technical and licensing questions, as well as how those products are configured. We also implement, test, and optimize the products that we sell. We do everything from the security assessment, vulnerability assessment, penetration tests to configuration assistance and UTM services. We also produce a lot of third-party content like we're doing today. All of this can be found at productivecorp.com/content, as well as our YouTube channel, which is Productive Content. The bottom line, we have the resources to help you. Whether it's implementation, assessment, licensing questions, or optimization services, we have the resources to help you. Help at productivecorp.com, 800-726-4099. And one of the ways that we help is by putting on relevant content for the companies that we work with. We've been working with Kaspersky Labs for a long time. They've been made quite a name for themselves in the endpoint space and have really delivered some great technology. Their newest foray, newest offering is a cloud offering, which we had been waiting for and are pretty excited to show it to you. The man with the plan who will be showing to you is Mr. Pete Greco. He's our VP of Sales and Technology, and when he's not hanging out in the cloud, he's keeping his feet firmly planted on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Greco.
All right, thanks so much, and thanks everybody for hopping on with us today. It is great to have you. We have really just a couple of quick slides. This one is going to take about 2 seconds to take you through, right? This is what we're not going to be talking about today, is the traditional way of managing endpoint security, where you're building your own on-prem server, or some folks now are maybe putting that server at Amazon or an Azure or one of these things, right, and then trying to funnel everything back through that management console. We're talking about the new way, which is really endpoint SaaS, right? So your cloud server is actually hosted, managed, updated, maintained, taken care of by Kaspersky, right? And you're going in and doing the administration and not having to worry about building that server, patching that server, keeping that server up to date, buying the server OS, right, provisioning a VM or buying gear, whatever it might be, and then eliminating any kind of database conflicts or any of this kind of stuff by trying to run that on a shared machine. Now it's given us the capability, right, not only to spin that up super quick and get that management console rolling, but now to manage our machines both on site, but also wherever they go throughout the world. So now somebody goes on a business trip to California and they need a website whitelisted, or they've got some kind of outbreak happening on their machine. You're going to get the information right back in the console regardless of where they're where they're at. And originally, when these cloud offerings were coming out, we were seeing a lot of organizations adopting them just for remote workers or people who travel all the time or this kind of stuff. But I think a lot of folks who have started using them have really identified that it's a much easier way to manage their environment in a lot of cases, and have moved their entire environments into the cloud. So it's a great way to get started with endpoint security by doing it out of the cloud. Todd, let's take a look at that next slide. So what's available in the Kaspersky product? If you're familiar with Kaspersky, or if you're a Kaspersky user currently, you're used to having a lot of great features at your fingertips, especially if you're taking advantage of the Kaspersky Advanced, where you might also have endpoint encryption, full disk encryption, device encryption available to you, full patch management, full software deployment beyond just pushing out the Kaspersky agent, right? And some of those features are things that we'll hope to see in future releases of the product. And if those are things that you are needing or are currently using, you might want to stay put on the Kaspersky on-premise edition. That product is not going anywhere, so anybody who is running the on-prem product and loving using those features, you don't need to worry that that stuff is going away. There's no end of life or anything like that. That product's going to continue to roll. But here's what we have access to as a part of the cloud product, and really all the base level and then some of the advanced level stuff is there as well. You know, of course, your anti-malware, endpoint firewall, web scanning, right? So there's two different web components in the Kaspersky family, the web protection and the web control. The difference there, web control is really content filtering. So I want to block sites because they have the naughty parts, or they're talking about weapons or drugs or whatever the content is. Could be totally clean from a malware standpoint, right, but not meet your business objectives from a content standpoint. That's a little bit different from what the web protection does, which I think really one of the most important features of the Kaspersky product family. The web protection is really just scanning that traffic for malware, right? So it's not necessarily looking at the content and saying, oh, that's a shopping site, we're not allowing that. It's really just saying, is this thing free of malware? Is it trying to download malware to my machine? That's what it's looking for. So highly valuable. Mail antivirus, that's really inbound and outbound from your Outlook. System Watcher, another key feature. This is the area that's actually stopping ransomware. So if you're worried about, you can't even name them now on one hand anymore. There's so many ransomwares out there. But you know, your crypto walls, crypto lockers, Zcrypt, Cryptex, right? System Watcher is the component that's going to stop that, both on the cloud product as well as on the on-prem product, right? So a lot of great stuff there. A lot of cool features on the MDM side as well. So if you're interested in getting really even just some base controls on those mobile devices, even if you don't own them, you're going to have plenty to do. For the Android, pretty important to get that antivirus on there, because there are Droid viruses floating around pretty rampantly. iOS does not allow that. Thus the X in that column. My feeling is as soon as Apple starts being a little more friendly to the anti-malware manufacturers, we're going to see that X turn into a check. So it has nothing to do with Kaspersky, more to do with Apple there. But a lot of great filtering, email setup. You can do some Wi-Fi and Bluetooth control and some other neat things. And we'll take a look at some of this stuff as we get into the product.
So, Pete, but aren't you completely safe if you have an Apple?
Ooh, Todd, great point. Any Apple product, no need to worry. If you do what I did, just bury it out in the backyard, that thing is going to be completely safe. Right?
Yeah,
a lot of folks
push the power off button, and then you'll be safe.
Absolutely. A lot of folks think that there's no threats for Apple because of the lack of functionality there. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm probably hurt on this thing.
You just did hurt feelings.
Tons of. I do have an iPhone, in full disclosure, and an iPad.
Oh yeah.
But tons of threats out there for the Apple products, right? And capability to protect both Mac OS as well as the Apple mobile device products inherent in the product. Todd, are you looking at my console here?
I am.
All right. So all I've done here is log in so far. So this is what you see. You enter your credentials and gain access. I'm really looking at my dashboard, and you can see I got a couple things that I need to do here. I need to upload my Apple certificate if I do want to do MDM on iPads or iPhones, right? And if you haven't done that, a super easy process. In fact, it really just takes you through it. They got a nice little instruction set here that just takes you right through it. You log on with an Apple ID. You're able to upload your certificate request from Kaspersky. Then you'll download your APNS certificate from Apple and then upload it into your Kaspersky console, and you're ready to start managing. No fee to do that. I know a while back, I think you had to have an Apple developer license, which was like $300 to be able to create those certificates. Those days are long gone, so no charge to do that. It's pretty straightforward to set it up as well. And once you get all these set up, right, you'll feel pretty good about yourself that you're on your way to securing your environment. A lot of notifications and different things you can get alerted to here. I actually need to go through that and get some of this stuff configured. Pretty easy to do. You just go through the list and start configuring on the things that you want to find out about. This is a great area where you might want to take advantage of pro services with our main man, Steve Gitto here, who can kind of help you get some of these things quickly identified that you might want to be aware of. Where I've seen a lot of folks go wrong with configuring alerts is two ways: not configuring enough and over-configuring. Right? We want to get you right in the right configuration for you, and it's not the same for every single organization, but there are some common things that Steve can guide and advise you on to give you a quick start so that you're not getting overwhelmed with information, but finding out about the things that you need to know. Right, back to this information pane. Then I've got some monitoring information here. I don't really have a big environment going in my Kaspersky Cloud yet. We probably will transition a few boxes over to this. But I don't really have anything going on right now, so I'm not getting a whole ton of information. You can see some of the stuff that I've done. Getting some machines registered, loading in some users, this kind of stuff. I can see my full list of events. Right now I'm not going to have anything too interesting for you to look at, but this is where you'll be able to see any threats that are coming in. You'll also be able to view those in the quarantine section, which is listed under here. You can kind of filter this out a little bit so you're just seeing the information that you want to see. Right, and then managing your licensing here. You can see kind of what I got going on. I'm on a not for resale license here, so they just give me about 75 days. A hurtful number, right? But I bet they'll renew it for me as we get to the end. And then how many licenses I'm actually using, which this should say 1. I'm not sure why this says 0. Still, this should be updating and give us some information. Yeah. Here I can now load in my users, and this is relatively easy to do. I can type in one email at a time here, or I can paste a whole big list of users, which is how I got everybody in here except for myself. I basically pasted everybody into that excuse me into that group. And so once you do this, right, and this doesn't matter whether you have one or you have many in here, then it's going to send them this welcome letter here to help them get started. And what the end user is going to end up getting is this little email. I'm not sure if I can, there we go, make that a little larger. Right, they're going to get this little email. Oh, this is, I'm sorry, this is the I thought this was the invite to download. They're going to get a different email, actually, that has a link where they can download the Kaspersky Cloud and a QR code where they can actually snap that photo with their mobile device product. Here we go. This is what I was looking for, where they can actually snap this with their QR reader and then download the mobile device agent and get it configured on their phone or tablet. And that's whether it's iOS or Android. And so if you're on an Android phone, it's going to take you to the Play Store. Otherwise, it's going to take you to the iTunes Store. If you're putting this on a Windows machine or a Mac, you're going to be able to download this right from here and download the installer on your machine. Now, I don't want my end users to handle doing this, so I may not want to send them this invite except for the mobile. So what I did is I download the package right from here, and now you can push it out using a GPO, or if you're an SCCM shop or Altiris, or you're using PDQ deploy or one of these things, right now you can download and control this code that way. It's a little over 100 meg download, so pretty quick to get it downloaded in the modern world, and then you can push it out a couple of different ways. I manually installed it on my test machine here, and then once you do that, you'll just have your regular Kaspersky looking agent. If you're familiar with Kaspersky, this is going to look just like the on-prem agent. If you're not, this is what the agent looks like, right? And so this is now communicating back to my cloud. This happens to be a Windows 7 machine loaded on one of our Hyper-V hosts, right? But if this were a laptop or a remote worker, I'm now going to be communicating with my cloud console, whether I'm at home, at an airport, or in the office, just like I used to with the on-prem server. But the difference now is when I am out, I'm going to get any threat-related information, or if this thing gets disabled, or someone's trying to plug in a USB device that's blocked, or they're trying to launch an application that's blocked, or whatever it might be, I'm going to get alerted to that instantly rather than having to wait for them to come back into the office for me to get those reports and get those updates. I can see a whole list of my devices. I can change them from group to group for a security profile. I can see who the main owner is, all kinds of interesting stuff here, events related to the specific machine. Here's where I create my security rules. Excuse me. And as I do that, I just do create new security profile and create a brand new rule from scratch. You can see here's the one that I've already created. And as a part of this rule is designed to apply to the user. So not only am I creating my security rules, but I can also get my mobile device rules here as well, right? So I'm under Windows, I'm under iOS, I'm under Android. I've got a protection, a control, and an advanced setting. Here you can see the stuff that I have turned on. I have that mail antivirus turned off because I mainly use the browser for email. Now in production, most of my users are using the actual Outlook application. I might turn this on so I can scan those messages, especially if I don't feel confident about the security that I'm getting maybe from my Google Apps or my Office 365 or even just hosting my own Exchange server, right? So it gives me some capabilities there. As I click on the settings button now, I can go in and start doing some additional configuration. So I've got this turned on. What do I want my security level to be? High, recommended, or medium, or low, right? And basically what this is doing is how deep into that file am I going to scan? So if I go low, I'm going to scan very shallowly into the header, and if I don't find anything, I'm going to move on to the next file. I'm going to use less resources to do that, so that might be a setting that I need to do if I'm still running Pentium 100 machines with 256 megs of RAM. On most modern machines, cranking this all the way up to high is probably not even going to be noticeable on that machine. I think a lot of folks will probably take advantage of the recommended setting, right? So I've also got device control and web control. If I hop into these, you can see what I'm doing here. Allow access to all websites except those specified in exclusions. Now again, this is not the content filter, right? This is just scanning that web traffic for threats. So if I'm going out, oh, I'm sorry, I am in the web control. I apologize, everybody. I'm telling you wrong. This is where I'm actually blocking based on content. I skipped ahead, right? And so now I've created some sites so I can specifically warn on websites, or I can call entire categories. I can reorganize these rules. I can change them very easily here from allow to block or warn, or I can come in and just add something brand new. Call it anything that I want. Do it based on category. I can plug in individual website names, whatever I need to do here. And now this content filter is actually following that workstation. So if you're doing on-prem content filtering at the gateway now, when that end user goes home or goes on the road, right, they're now not getting filtered. With this product, that's going to follow them on that device wherever they go. Right, so it gives you a lot of capabilities there. Now, I thought that I was in the web antivirus, so apologies there. And here's where we're actually scanning that traffic, and I can determine what I want to do. Block that download, allow that download. You can plug in some additional settings here. Super important piece of the technology, as well as System Watcher. Really nothing to configure here. You have this on. This is basically the intrusion prevention area of the program, and this is going to be a key area that's going to stop that ransomware. Now, as I go into this advanced tab, here's where I can start creating whitelists, and they built a lot of default stuff in there for us to take advantage of. You can see 308 exclusions listed by default. Some of the ones that you'll see, for example, SharePoint built in there. You can come in there and get rid of anything that you're not going to take advantage of. If you've really done a good job of hardening and locking stuff down, you can get in there and eliminate some of the stuff that you're not using. We're not really a SharePoint site, so we might get rid of that exclusion, but you can see a lot of stuff around your group policies, and that stuff has been pre-built for you. So again, fairly easy to get the ball rolling on this thing. If there's anything in here that I don't want, I can simply check them off and delete them here, and I can add new exclusions as well. So maybe you're running, some kind of high-end finance application, and you really just need to get the bulk of the performance out of that. You can come in here and whitelist some of those key processes there, right?
So Pete,
yeah.
Have you seen any? Maybe even seen this or played around with enough to know, right? Some of that stuff, Office 365, is really underneath it. It says SharePoint, right? So do you see any stuff in there that it looks like, oh, I'm not running SharePoint, but if you're running Office 365, you might be?
You know where I've seen that more, so great question, first of all. You know where I've seen that more, or issues around that more, Todd, is not with the AV scanning, but with the web content filtering. Okay. Some of those Office 365, so we're an O365 shop currently. Previously, we were a Google Apps shop prior to getting off of Exchange, and we had the same issue with Google. It's not just whitelisting Office365.com and now you're all set, right? So there are a ton of sub-sites that are getting called, and depending on what's on that site, some of your other protections might be kicking in. So blocking streaming, for example. Blocking banner ads, for example, and just some of the acceptable use guidelines you've set up on your web filter. That's where we spent all of our time tuning in the web content filter to allow all of those sub-sites. So excel-live.com, word.view.com. These were things I had to kind of uncover that they were getting blocked or warned in the reports, and then go in and whitelist them for web content filter. That's where we've seen it. Now, we still do some exclusions because we run the on-prem or the downloadable versions of Office as well. Right, we're not doing all of our Excel work in the in the browser version or the cloud version. And so there, I might come in and exclude excel.exe or word.exe to get that performance. I'm still scanning the Word doc or the XLSX file or whatever it might be, just not the actual application itself. But definitely the web filter is an area to pay attention to with the Office 365 stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and especially with SharePoint, you're only hitting that via the browser. If you're using like OneDrive, for example, you're not going to see that SharePoint executable on your local machine. You're only going to see the web traffic.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if you're doing the, Todd does it, I do it as well. We have the I don't know what they call the Cloud Sync or the OneDrive Sync agent, so it appears in our file manager folder, and we can kind of manage it the traditional way. That's still cloud-based. It's synced local. All you have there is the documents. You don't have any SharePoint technology running locally there, right? So it makes a little bit of a difference. Let's take a quick peek. I know I'm almost out of time here. Just want to give you a quick look at some of the Android settings. Just a ton of stuff you can do here, right? So I've got the antivirus enabled. I'm scanning all files. Controls that I can come in here and do, including application control, right, and compliance control. So if somebody is running an app that I've banned, I can actually drop them from the network or block their access to any corporate data. If they're jailbreaking and rooting that device, I can block them from accessing. If I own the device, I can actually just wipe that thing if I want to. Probably wouldn't do it to an employee-owned device, but if it was a device that the organization owned, maybe I would want to wipe it, or I can lock them out of it. So a lot of capabilities that you can do there to really get control of the device. Can also push out Wi-Fi. So rather than telling everybody what the Wi-Fi password is, I can actually just program it in here, and it'll get set up automatically on their phone. So this is maybe not as comprehensive as what you would see in like a AirWatch or a Good. But you're going to get all the key features that folks ask us about at a fraction of the price of what you're going to see with like an AirWatch or a Good or a mobile iron or one of those kinds of devices. So if you don't need to control every inch of that device, or if you have a budget, right, this is going to be a great alternative. Far superior to doing nothing for sure, and at the very least, if you just enforce making them have a password on that phone or that tablet that's accessing your data, that goes a long way from just locking out the knuckleheads from being able to get control of that phone and get into your environment and do some stuff that you don't want them to do. So pretty handy. All of this stuff relatively easy to figure out. Again, we have a great guy on staff who can take you through this. He can help you quickly configure it. He can do it in your absence if you just simply don't have the time to go through and do these settings and really figure out how to get this thing rolling. Steve Gitto, a great resource to help you with this stuff and help you with the quick configuration, give you some great advice based on the hundreds of Kaspersky customers that we have on board, show you kind of what some of the common settings are, some of the things that you really need to be worried about, as well as some of the things that you don't really need to be worried about at the onset, right? And he can really guide you through that. Yeah.
What about OS X support or OS 10, whatever?
On the way. I think we're looking for it sub 60 days, or that might have been 60 days from last month. We should be getting an update on that soon, but it's due out right quick.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that. Yeah, fantastic stuff, Pete. Great presentation, as always. We are going to make this presentation available on our website, productivecorp.com/content, as well as our YouTube channel. But for now, I say thank you very much, Pete. Fantastic as always. And for everybody who took the time to come here, thank you. We know 30 minutes is significant in your day, and hopefully we made good use of your time. If there's other topics you'd like to hear about, let us know. If we missed the mark, also please let us know, because we work pretty hard on these things and want to make sure they are relevant to you. So I am Todd Obert along with Pete Greco, wishing you a fantastic balance of your day and week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.